new students here. I'm from a different country, so when Dr. Youssef came, he built like a social background, so we get to interact with others, so we build like confidence and comfort. So during lectures, we not only listen to what he said, but we interacted with others, and we build our previous knowledge, gain more insight on what others have to say, so the interaction was good.
Dr. Kuharde has employed numerous tools and techniques in her teaching to engage students.
We created a Facebook group online, and Geeta Kuharde was a part of the group. And she would post up during the week different pictures and slides and presentations, and even the different games, which will help us to make it easier for us to gather information and collect and discuss and analyze.
In 2012, I started my own YouTube channel. And there I was creating videos on the lectures that I did. And so the purpose of that was for students to learn at their own pace. So they could pause, which they couldn't do in real life. They could pause, they could, and look back at something and that kind of thing. And for that year, I had so much fun, and I learned my material even better. And I was asking myself, hey, if this is happening for me, maybe I should go and let the students do it. So the next year, I made the BGT project, which is Biochemians Got Talent. And biochemian is not a real word. It's a word that we made up to say that students having fun learning biochemistry. And that's exactly what was the plan, was to engage students and let them have fun along the way, so they get involved in the material. And at first, I was really nervous, because this was never done at the university. And we were like, videos, boy, ah. And so when I gave the project out, I was very, waiting there edgy, saying, well, what's going to happen now? And the response was phenomenal.
This is one lecture that I don't think he sleeps at all, because I will be up like 1 o'clock in the morning and this green dot on Facebook, because we have a Facebook group for the entire class, and he knows everybody by name.
Weekly. The benefits include the ability to foster teamwork. Nobody works in isolation as a professional, and you must be able to interact with others. You must be able to socialize. That's an extremely important element in the workplace now, and flipping this classroom allows that.
Making the classroom a fun experience. This is the credence by which Dr. Shivananda Nayak lectures to medical, dental, veterinary and pharmacy students at the UWI's Faculty of Medical Sciences, St. Augustine.
So I was thinking of becoming a lecturer, like maybe before 1990s, okay? So because I was inspired and motivated by the lecturers who taught me, okay? So that was the time, I had a dream of becoming a lecturer, through which I can offer the better knowledge to the students' community to make them future healthcare professionals of integrity and purpose.
Professor Nayak believes that one of the benefits his students receive is not being saturated by content. This too is what he advises of upcoming lecturers.
As a lecturer, with my experience, I can give best whatever I have, the knowledge and best lecture to my student community to make them better healthcare professional, okay, and prepare them as a future healthcare professional. They can take care of their patients and they can serve their community wherever they work. Better they use the well-developed teaching aids to make the students learn very easily, and also try to inspire and motivate the students always. That is very, very important in the teaching profession.
And then I came to university after 2 years of teaching, and I was offered a demonstrator position to demonstrate to students in the lab, and a vacancy for a lecturer position came on, and I was advised to apply for it by my head of department, and the rest is history. I started teaching at the UWI here in 1975.
Dr. Sergio Charan is no stranger to being recognized for her academic contributions, having been the recipient of several fellowships and awards.
As far back as I could remember, I always wanted to teach. It was always something I loved doing as a child. I didn't have any formal training, but I enjoyed passing on my knowledge to my peers, to friends. Anything that I knew and someone wanted an explanation, I was eager to share it.
For Dr. Farid Yousaf, one element is most critical to effective teaching.
A desire to engage and a willingness to engage the students, to try and make it as real as possible, to recognize that it is difficult to sit down and just listen to a lecture for 1 hour if all that's happening is the lecturer is speaking. So to give the students opportunities to talk to themselves, to talk to me, to feedback, and to just try and create an atmosphere and an environment that's not intimidating for the students.
I grew up in Pool Village near Rio Claro, and it was a very rural setting, so that the people didn't really go to school at a tertiary level. I never felt that I could aspire to be a lecturer. I used to feel a distance between me and my lecturer, and I felt that I should not aspire to touch those people. I don't want to be that kind of lecturer.
I recognized very early that if we were training students to go out there to function and to be effective, and they had a problem with making the connection between what they were learning in the classroom and what the real problems were out there, then we really would not be satisfying our mandate to train people for the development of our countries. And so I started to deliberately address how can I get students more involved, more engaged in their own learning, and to recognize that what we are doing in the classroom has direct relevance to what is happening out there.
Dr. Roach says while research is an important element in being a lecturer, emphasis must also be placed on teaching. She shares with us her teaching style.
I tell my students my style is very interactive. I tell them, I love to hear your voices, and they look at me like, really? I said, yes. It also breaks that monotony of just hearing me talk and having that dynamic. So I tell them we're partners in learning.
One of the most exciting experiences I've had in teaching is when I've had students actually be on the field, not in the classroom, and you're actually illustrating things on the ground. The field is a living laboratory. It's a laboratory for real education, and for me that's the excitement.
She's one of the busiest, I think, lecturers. She's always working, but she comes around and she looks at your work, which is good, she's checking us, and she gives you hints. She doesn't necessarily give you the answer, but she gives you hints and points you in the correct direction.
Some of my friends are shy, and they were able to discuss things, and they were able to see what they understood from it rather than going home and now thinking about it. You get to discuss it and think about your thoughts right there and then.
It makes learning fun. That's the best thing. It's very jovial. You're not under any stress while learning. You're not depressed. It's just an exciting thing when you're learning with Dr. Joseph.
The talk on campus is that Dr. Chris Maharaj has flipped.
There are a lot of studies that show the knowledge retention. If I lecture to somebody, the knowledge retention that that person gets is the least, and I would learn the most lecturing to them. So I have flipped the classroom, and I spend the least time talking in the classroom.
It was kind of a culture shock at first, because you're not accustomed to this type of teaching and whatnot. But in a way, you actually have to be interactive in and out of the class. That way you understand the material properly.
To get us to introduce our own thoughts into the topic, and then he builds on that further.
Most lecturers, they come and they just place the notes, read off the notes. His personality, it engages you. He uses visual aids, allows us to interact. It's not just laying out the blocks, ABCs, allowing you to learn for yourself, to build for yourself, and then he adds or emphasizes on it.
I think what I'm trying to do is create a varied experience in the classroom, and each little thing might touch a different student.
He's one of 2 lecturers I've seen that has allowed me to embrace my learning skill, which is through visual aids, audio, stuff like that. The other that does come is just words, probably a few pictures, and it's just laid out. But I think he's one of those lecturers that, he grabs my attention.
He's a very good lecturer, because to keep me awake, it's almost impossible.
I also use technology to help to grow skills in my students. So employability skills are pulled out of students by giving them new projects. They don't get the traditional projects from me. They have to make their own videos. They have to post their own blog articles. They get to do a risk assessment in a company somewhere, but they must come and write about it in a blog article and post what their recommendations are in order to raise the standard in the company.
Screencasts of lectures are made available online in advance of classes, so students can digest the content and choose if they wish to present to their peers.
The method that he teaches to be able to present in the screencast helps us in job interviews, as well as for our final year project, because we have to do 2 presentations for final year.
After a lecture, if you didn't quite grasp a concept, you go online and you can listen to him and see him do it over and over and over again until you got it.
I enjoy what I do, and this is always my first response to people who ask me, why are you doing this? This is what I like doing, and I think enjoyment of what one does is the first thing that must be treated with, or the first thing that one must come to grips with when one intends to take on a career. What I do, I don't see it as a part-time event, nor do I see it as something that I want to change. It is something that I intend to stay with for the rest of my life. And it's good because I enjoy it.
Because all the time you have to examine what you know and your own understandings and ask yourself, how best can I transmit this to somebody? How best can I get somebody to see this? How best can I give them an experience that would allow them to discover this? And that takes a lot of thought.
Dr. Sergio Turan is passionate about teaching her students not only content, but also the life skills that they will rely on in their day-to-day activities. She advocates that teachers must always see students as individuals, no matter the size of the classroom, and that they too should seek constant training.
We try to promote in the classroom democracy, social equity, justice, ethics, and particularly in biology now with the new developments in research and in technologies, ethical issues have come to the fore. So we hope our students will be behaving ethically and understand how to judge whatever they do in an ethical fashion.
I also enjoy his use of personal stories when he brings it into the lecture, because then it makes it feel like we're having more of a conversation than having someone talk at me.
Humor and emotion helps you learn. There's science on that as well, once you can attach emotion to something. So if you think of memories that you have, any memories you have that have strong emotions attached to them, that's why they're firmly implanted in your mind. Part of the humor is actually for them to connect with me in a different way, and to try and still maintain the respect between a teacher and a student. I think our education system in the Caribbean, especially in Trinidad, has generally been very much on this is how it has to be, this is how you have to think about things, and that doesn't really teach our kids anything. What I'm trying to do is trying to get them to think a little bit more deeply about their own ideas and their own thoughts. And then inside of there, simply just slip in a different perspective. It's the difference between trying to impose my perspective on them and trying to allow them to see things differently.
As a teacher, it's important for me to create and maintain sustaining connections with the students. The teacher-taught connection should be lively and vibrant. The teaching material, the assessment scheme and the mode of delivery, they also need to be interconnected.
My philosophy is based on the student. I have to be that way because this is my job, and most importantly it's based on the student being happy. So I need to find ways of them being happy in the classroom, and I have to compete with all these other technological devices, the phones, the tablets, and I don't want to tell them in the classroom that you cannot use your phone or you cannot use your tablet. They need to be happy in the classroom, and if that's one of the ways they could be happy, that's fine. I need to make my instruction or my delivery that much better than what they have in front of them.
Dr. Charlene Roach, lecturer in the Department of Behavioral Sciences, is confident that this is what makes the world of difference in the classroom between teacher and student.
When lecturers and teachers care about their students, it has an impact on them. They are inspired, they are determined, they feel special, and I want my students to feel that way as I did as a student. A teacher who cares would be able to deal with different students, different abilities, would be able to go beyond, just their natural ability, but see potential and inspire them and encourage them to learn, to think about things that they may not, give them constructive feedback.
But it's the learning that goes on for your entire lifetime, because it's in the nature of things to change. You need to be open, you need to be willing, you need to be receptive, and you need to retain that element of humility.
And for Dr. Maharaj, that happiness extends beyond the lecture room.
He has what he calls mentorship meetings, right? And the thing about this, there was a semester when I came at him for advising and my performance is really low. So he talked with me and kind of felt out what I was doing and helped me to realize where I was spending my time, where I could improve on spending my time for academics, and I got an improvement afterwards.
is also a very, very engaging area of academic life, because all the time you have to examine what you know and your own understandings and ask yourself, how best can I transmit this to somebody? How best can I get somebody to see this? How best can I give them an experience that would allow them to discover this? And that takes a lot of thought.
She acknowledges that the recognition and reward scheme is a very motivating element for teachers.
Having this award really allows teachers and others who are in the profession to get a time to celebrate. It allows for professionals in teaching to develop a reflective practice. Sitting back in terms of that part of your reflection and thinking about your practice allows you to see those areas where you're growing, to see those areas where you are making progress, and to see those areas that you haven't really touched, that they're very weak and you need sort of like, ouch, they're still there, and to think about them and to find ways to, bridge those gaps.
Dr. Nayak also illustrates that at no point in life are we too old to learn and appreciate constructive criticism. In fact, this is an attribute in his students that he encourages. This we see as he shares with us his most memorable moment in the classroom.
While I was delivering my first lecture, some of the students were looking at me and something, they were like, then I sensed it immediately that something problem with the students. Then I asked them, my teaching's okay or anything problem with the accent? Then they said that, sir, everything is going well with you, only you have to speak slowly.
I need to be more or less the facilitator in the classroom, not the traditional lecturer.
I really would like to thank Guardian Life for collaborating with the university for, putting this recognition in place, because I think it would go a very long way to help the development of our people in the region, as, we really need to be doing. Sometimes we think our best resources, the natural resources and so, but I firmly believe that our best resources are our people. And those of us who are charged with the responsibility of developing that resource, I think it's great knowing that.
Events like award schemes give us an opportunity for us to collate information, to understand what is going on in other parts of the university, etc. So that ultimately, while one may rejoice at the end of the process, and rightly so, one also has to realize that there is much enjoyment and learning emerging from the development and the journey towards the accomplishment or towards the event.
He notes that very often the teaching profession is not recognized, and so believes that this award and the reward scheme are good things.
Any professionals, if they are awarded with something, they will have some inspiration. That's what we say. We have to motivate the people, those who want to serve further. That's why the recognition or the awards are the motivation for the lecturers or the teachers, for them to offer better service and offer the better knowledge to the students.
And many times it's these little concepts that didn't sink in from way back. But we could always go to her to ask questions and understand the basic concepts and understand the complex system in the end.
One of my techniques is always to go back to first principles. So when I see somebody doing something incorrect, I don't say, you're doing this incorrectly, do it this way. I say, okay, let's go back and look at why we're using these equations.
I realize that we practice here this self-directed learning, we motivate them, and this is more important here. So that is one thing which has attracted me to UWI as well, and which is keeping me here.
Trinidad and Tobago in general and the University of the West Indies, they have both welcomed me with open arms, and I'm very thankful for the academic freedom that I've enjoyed here, the encouragement that I've gotten for my research work, the recognition that has been given to me for teaching innovations, and plenty of opportunity to develop yourself professionally through CETL workshops and all of those things. They have given me constructive direction and momentum, I would say.
I think it's that UWI gives you this academic freedom to experiment, to try to be better. I couldn't ask for a better department, I couldn't ask for a better university.